You've heard the phrase, "You are what you eat." But in 2025, doctors and recent research show that what you eat could mean the difference between feeding cancer or starving it. Research and results from clinical teams increasingly show that food and lifestyle can change disease risk and influence how well patients respond to treatment. Imagine that your dinner plate could quietly fight off tumors while you sleep. Sounds unreal, right? The catch is, only certain foods seem to trigger this defense system, and many seniors aren't eating them. This video will show how choosing the right foods, while being mindful of medications and age-related changes, can provide real advantages in the fight for better health. And as the latest numbers reveal, the stakes for seniors could not be higher. Cancer in 2025, hope hidden in the numbers. Cancer in 2025 is not only about fear, it is also about perspective. Cancer risk rises sharply with age, and by 2025, major U.S. reports estimate roughly 2.04 million new cancer cases nationwide. Research consistently shows that incidence and mortality increase as people get older, with adults over 70 facing the highest incidence rates of all. For families, this means cancer is no longer an abstract concept found in medical journals. It is a reality that touches grandparents, community members, and longtime friends. The numbers themselves are striking, but they also open a door to a more hopeful message. The patterns within those statistics reveal opportunities that seniors can act on today. Understanding these numbers begins with an important reminder. While aging raises the likelihood of cancer, survival is not determined solely by luck or access to the newest treatments. National cancer reports over the past decades show that overall death rates have actually declined, reflecting steady improvements in prevention programs, earlier screening, and newer therapies. At the same time, an aging population has meant that the overall number of new diagnoses remains high. For seniors, this creates a powerful reason to look beyond traditional treatment and toward supportive strategies that can improve resilience and quality of life right now. One of the clearest findings in recent years is that nutrition and lifestyle, once considered minor factors, are gaining recognition as essential elements of care. Clinical programs and observational data increasingly report that seniors who embrace targeted dietary and daily habit changes often experience better tolerance of therapy, fewer complications, and in some cohorts, reduced risk of disease progression or recurrence. Physicians are now working these considerations into conversations about supportive care, recognizing that lifestyle is not an afterthought, but part of the medical picture. The science behind this is more straightforward than it might sound. Cancer does not exist in isolation. It uses the body's own systems to sustain itself. Tumors thrive by stimulating blood vessels to grow toward them, drawing in nutrients such as glucose, and interfering with immune defenses. Drugs have been designed to interrupt these pathways. Yet research now shows that common foods contain natural compounds that influence these same processes. Certain vegetables contain substances that help reduce abnormal blood vessel growth. Fruits and teas supply antioxidants that protect against DNA errors. Whole grains and legumes feed gut bacteria that regulate immune response. No single meal acts as a medicine on its own, but over time, these inputs shift the environment inside the body in ways that make it harder for cancer to thrive. For many seniors, this raises an immediate concern that starting late in life is too little, too late. But national and international studies continue to emphasize that meaningful change is possible at older ages. Adjustments in diet and daily habits during one's 70s or 80s have been linked to steadier weight, improved energy, and reduced hospital visits compared to peers following standard diets. While these measures do not promise to cure advanced disease, they consistently deliver a clearer benefit: better daily living and fewer complications. At the very least, seniors who act on these choices are more likely to sustain independence and participate fully in family and community life. This idea, small, consistent actions producing measurable outcomes, matters because it shifts the story from fear of numbers to empowerment through behavior. Instead of seeing statistics only as warnings, seniors can view them as a blueprint for action. Eating nutrient-dense foods, integrating light activity, and monitoring weight are all measurable strategies that directly influence outcomes. These habits extend beyond cancer alone. They lower the risk for heart disease, support metabolic health, promote steadier sleep, and improve mood. The benefits ripple outward, reinforcing resilience across the body. It is natural to greet this message with skepticism. For much of the 20th century, the medical community itself regarded diet as largely irrelevant after a diagnosis, but the research base has changed. In 2025, large-scale studies track populations across age groups and countries, and the evidence points consistently to the same conclusion. Seniors who adopt thoughtful nutrition and lifestyle adjustments experience outcomes that defy the expectations of only a few decades ago. These improvements are modest compared to the claims of miracle cures, but they are real, evidence-based, and sustainable. To picture it plainly, if older adults are the group statistically most likely to face cancer, then practicing supportive lifestyle strategies is not optional but vital. And these strategies are widely accessible, not reserved for patients in large medical centers. A meal rich in vegetables, a daily walk, or a simple mug of tea might sound ordinary, but repeated consistently, they represent significant interventions in disguise. That is the hope hidden inside what first appears to be overwhelming statistics. Cancer may appear poised to affect millions of seniors, but the tools to influence those outcomes are often already within reach. Equally important, consistency is the deciding factor. Just as medications require steady dosing, nutritional and lifestyle strategies demand regularity. Seniors who benefit from these approaches are those who integrate them into daily life, not those who make temporary changes. Year after year, clinical data shows that a lifestyle woven into routine produces different health trajectories than a sporadic effort. For families supporting aging parents, this is both practical and encouraging because it suggests that simple home routines, cooking balanced meals, creating walking schedules, prioritizing rest, can truly alter what the numbers look like over time. In sum, the statistics of 2025 do not simply warn. Their real message is one of possibility. Cancer remains a growing presence in senior populations, but its impact is not fixed. Nutrition and lifestyle choices, supported by consistent evidence, are shaping outcomes in ways that traditional models once overlooked. For those who fear it may be too late, the data underscores the opposite. Every change made in the present can tilt the odds toward greater resilience and improved quality of life. And this perspective raises a deeper question. If lifestyle adjustments bring such measurable benefits, why do some seniors appear to recover or adapt more effectively than others, even when facing similar diagnoses or undergoing similar treatments? The answer lies in how the body's natural defenses shift with age, and why those defenses sometimes falter long before disease strikes. Why the aging body's defenses weaken. Some seniors in their 70s recover from illness or surgery faster than people 2 decades younger, while others struggle despite facing the same challenge. One person may bounce back from pneumonia in weeks, while another loses strength, spirals into complications, and never fully regains health. The difference comes down not only to genes or luck, but to how strong the body's defense systems remain. From birth, every person carries built-in defenses designed to recognize threats, repair damage, and maintain balance. These include immune networks that train cells to fight invaders, blood vessels that deliver oxygen and nutrients, and cellular machinery that scans genetic material for mistakes. In youth, these processes are efficient and well-coordinated. Fast immune responses, flexible circulation, and rapid DNA correction work together like a vigilant security team on constant patrol. But with age, cracks appear in this protection. Coordination slows, and weak points emerge. 3 shifts stand out most clearly. First, the immune system loses its edge. This is rooted in what's known as thymic involution. The thymus gland, which trains new T cells, shrinks substantially with age. As a result, fewer new T cells are produced, leaving older adults less responsive to new infections and reducing the way vaccines stimulate protection. This is a well-documented part of immunosenescence and explains why an older immune system may struggle to identify and attack cancerous cells early. The second shift takes place in circulation. Blood vessels gradually stiffen with age, reducing the ability to deliver oxygen to stressed tissues or clear away waste efficiently. Microclots are more likely to form, meaning tissues get less nourishment at exactly the times they most need rapid healing. For cancer, this stiffened circulation serves two roles. It weakens recovery from normal stress and simultaneously supplies tumors with pathways to draw blood, aiding their growth. The third change occurs in DNA repair. Every day, as billions of cells copy themselves, small genetic mistakes appear. Younger repair systems catch and fix these errors almost instantly, preventing them from spreading. But with age, repair slows and errors accumulate. A mutation that might once have been caught and deleted can now linger, creating the spark for abnormal growth. This gradual decline in repair machinery is a major reason why the risk of cancer rises with age. Each of these weak points, fewer immune reinforcements, rigid blood vessels, and slower DNA repair, create space for disease to take hold. Cancer, in particular, exploits them all. It avoids immune surveillance, thrives on redirected blood supply, and grows out of unrepaired mutations. Taken together, this explains why identical diagnoses in seniors often produce very different outcomes. Some bodies retain stronger defenses, while others face age-related declines converging at once. But the hopeful finding in the research is that these defenses aren't gone. They are slowed and misregulated. The good news is these systems can be supported, not necessarily restored to youthful levels, but improved with consistent lifestyle decisions and medical guidance. Evidence shows that even in later decades, defenses remain responsive if given the right signals. Exercise is one of those signals. Moderate daily movement, such as walking, stimulates nitric oxide release, which helps blood vessels relax and stay flexible. Studies in seniors show circulation can improve noticeably within weeks, which not only aids overall healing, but makes it harder for tumors to secure new blood supplies. Circulatory resilience acts on multiple fronts, reducing risks of cardiovascular events while also strengthening resistance against cancer growth. Nutrition exerts similar influence. Cruciferous vegetables, such as broccoli, contain sulforaphane, a compound shown to activate detoxifying enzymes that repair or remove damaged genetic fragments. In older adults, this pathway responds even after decades of wear. Tea polyphenols from black or green tea offer another example. They support immune surveillance, helping identify cells that deviate from normal. These are simple dietary choices that require no complex procedures, yet they activate defense systems often thought to be dormant in later years. Sleep is another underrated defense mechanism. During uninterrupted rest, the body performs much of its repair and cleanup work. Research shows that seniors getting fewer than 6 hours of sleep consistently have higher markers of inflammation, which blunt immune accuracy and increase vulnerability to cellular malfunction. By contrast, a stable sleep routine helps restore immune responses closer to those measured in younger adults. In practice, maintaining regular rhythms and reducing late-night stimulants becomes just as important as diet or exercise. The microbiome adds a final layer of interaction. Gut bacteria help train and regulate immune systems, but diversity drops with age, leaving fewer beneficial signals. Increasing intake of fiber-rich foods, beans, oats, apples, or carrots can expand bacterial variety, sending healthier immune instructions throughout the body. Clinical work has demonstrated that rebuilding a more balanced microbiome in older adults strengthens immune responses against abnormal cells, showing again that small, daily adjustments can shift the balance of defenses. This broader perspective makes one point clear: aging itself does not automatically erase defenses. Instead, declining systems respond more slowly and less precisely. The capacity to function, however, remains. Seniors can still build stronger muscles with light resistance exercise, create new brain connections through learning, and stimulate their immune system with good nutrition and healthy sleep. These are examples of reserve potential that can be tapped at any age. Take circulation as one more example. The cells lining blood vessels, called endothelial cells, release protective chemicals when prompted by movement. Gardening, stretching, or simple resistance work activates these signals. Within weeks, flexibility increases and blood vessels regain some of their capacity to deliver oxygen efficiently. This improvement helps against heart disease, but equally important, it denies tumors the easy growth environment they rely on for building blood supply. Similar measurable effects exist in DNA stability. Berries contain anthocyanins that shield DNA from oxidative stress and reduce mutation rates. Olive oil, a core part of healthy dietary patterns, contributes polyphenols that reduce chronic inflammation, allowing DNA repair to operate with more clarity. These results are modest compared to pharmaceutical interventions, but layered together, they consistently show protective effects. Many older adults react with doubt when they first hear that these everyday adjustments carry measurable impact. The perception is that decades of wear leave no room for meaningful improvement. Yet daily evidence across studies shows otherwise. Even into the 8th decade of life, new immune cells form, tissues respond to circulation training, and gut bacteria populations shift in response to food. Improvements may require support and consistency, but they do take place. What separates two seniors of the same age is how successfully these defenses are maintained. Health datasets demonstrate that seniors aligning nutrition, movement, rest, and microbiome support show greater resilience, lower recurrence of cancer, and faster recovery compared to peers who do not. Such differences underscore why aging should be seen as a stage of sensitivity, not inevitability. Recognizing this changes the narrative. Decline is real, but it is not terminal by default. Lifestyle-driven interventions cannot reverse the clock, but they can tilt the odds back towards stability. Seniors who take advantage of these accessible levers often see not just clinical benefit but practical improvements: better energy, shorter hospital stays, and steadier recovery. The body may not be youthful, but it is not passive. It remains prepared to respond when given the right input. These findings lead to a deeper realization. If age weakens defenses and lifestyle helps to restore them, what exactly are those defenses constantly fighting against? The answer lies in the thousands of cellular mistakes that occur quietly, day after day, errors that, left unchecked, can grow into something larger. Microcancers, the battles you never see. What emerges from that picture of weakening defenses is something both surprising and unsettling. Cancer does not usually begin as a sudden event, but as countless tiny trials happening inside the body every single day. This is where the idea of microcancers comes in, the battles you never see. Researchers, including well-known clinical scientists, often explain that as cells copy themselves, they make thousands of small mistakes daily. Many of these errors are harmless or immediately corrected, but some resemble microscopic cancers. They never appear on a scan, and most vanish before anyone is aware of them. Immune cells and repair systems quietly sweep them away. These microcancers are real, but invisible, like sparks flying briefly out of a fire. The reason most people do not get sick from them is because the body stamps them out before they spread. Importantly, it's not that every spark turns into a blaze. Almost all are extinguished quickly. Only when defenses fail does a cluster survive long enough to matter. Understanding this hidden struggle explains why the risk of cancer rises with age. When you are young, microscopic abnormalities are identified and destroyed with impressive speed. By the time someone reaches their 60s or 70s, however, immune systems are less vigilant and inflammation often interferes with surveillance. That creates small openings for a cluster of mistaken cells to slip through and begin recruiting nutrients for survival. Left alone, they may persist and slowly gather strength. It's a disquieting thought. How many of these small clusters exist in otherwise healthy people at any given time? The answer is more than you might imagine. They can appear in the lungs after inhaling pollutants, in the colon after exposure to dietary irritants, or in the breast or liver through years of oxidative stress. Normally, they vanish without notice, erased by immune patrols. But with defenses weaker and exposures higher in older adults, the odds shift. Over time, a few of these microscopic cancers avoid destruction and become more durable. That gradual buildup is what may later be recognized as disease. For this reason, cancer isn't best thought of as an invader that appears overnight. It grows out of years of early battles fought by systems we barely recognize operating quietly inside us. By the time a tumor is large enough to cause symptoms, it represents victories won by a handful of abnormal cells that escaped earlier control. The story highlights why everyday defenses matter as much as any advanced therapy. They determine whether thousands of invisible mistakes remain harmless or progress into something noticeable. At this point, the natural question is, can ordinary choices affect that outcome? Increasingly, research suggests yes. Certain foods contain compounds that act as allies to the immune system. They don't work like prescription drugs with a single precise target. Instead, they bolster natural defenses, sharpening the ability to recognize abnormal cells, modulating inflammatory signals, and interfering with the blood vessel growth a microtumor would need to expand. In that way, meals function not just as fuel, but as reinforcements that keep the security team more alert. Take mushrooms, for example. Studies have shown that compounds inside them support natural killer cells, which are specialized in detecting abnormal growths. Seniors who include mushrooms a few times per week often show stronger activity in these cells. Berries supply anthocyanins that shield DNA from further damage, reducing the chance that minor mistakes pile up into something larger. Green tea contains catechins that interfere with abnormal blood supply, slowing the ability of microtumors to build infrastructure. Garlic and onions introduce sulfur compounds that encourage the liver to activate detoxifying enzymes, helping sweep out toxins before they can trigger further damage. These foods alone do not cure anything, but when layered consistently into daily meals, they shift the balance back toward protection and away from persistence. Nutrition's role here is particularly valuable for older adults who may find intensive treatment difficult to tolerate. Unlike chemotherapy or radiation, these foods do not break down the body in the process of helping it. They provide quieter, sustainable support, accumulating small advantages over time. This means that decisions at the dinner table directly shape an older body's ability to erase mistakes before they grow dangerous. The gut microbiome adds another layer of defense. Beneficial bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids that regulate immunity. For seniors, a more diverse microbiome is strongly connected to better oversight against microscopic abnormalities. Feeding this microbiome through fiber-rich foods, beans, oats, apples, carrots directly reinforces its range. Without that diversity, miscommunications arise, and abnormal clusters can slip through unnoticed. Again, what might seem like trivial choices, adding beans to lunch, replacing processed snacks with fruit, actually govern whether micro-cancers are spotted or overlooked. Skeptics often dismiss the possibility that these daily shifts matter against something as complex as cancer. Yet the evidence is clear. The body already wins thousands of these microscopic battles each day without us noticing. Nutrition and lifestyle changes don't replace that fight, but they enhance it. For seniors, this is decisive. Highly processed meals, excessive sugar, and poor sleep weaken patrols, allowing sparks to linger. Nutrient-dense foods, stable routines, and restorative rest supply fresh equipment to defenses that still exist, even if slowed. The outcome is not seen in dramatic 24-hour turnarounds, but in gradual resilience where fewer mistakes survive long enough to grow. This repositions food in daily life. It is not just calories, it is instructions. Every serving communicates something to the body about how aggressively it should watch, repair, or resist. Over weeks and months, the accumulation of those instructions explains why one senior remains active and resilient while another struggles with repeated illness. The kitchen quietly becomes an extension of healthcare. So, while the realization that micro-cancers sprout every day may feel unsettling, it carries an equally important reassurance. We are not helpless. The body is already equipped to fight them, and the way we choose to support those defenses determines whether they succeed. A single portion of colorful produce, a cup of tea, or a fiber-rich side dish are not trivial. They are practical reinforcements. Every small act tips the balance toward survival of the defenses rather than persistence of the errors. That recognition leads directly to a larger question.